Hi, I'm Natasha Mulholland, the marketing manager for the Angelika Film Center in San Diego. And I want to welcome you to our series, Coffee Club, in which we talk to local film industry and arts-minded professionals about the situation and about our favorite topic, film. So please hit that subscribe button to our YouTube channel to find out more and also to watch previous Q&As from our New York cinema. Today, our very special guest joining us is Ryan Isaak, the Director of Cultural Arts at the San Diego Center for Jewish Culture. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you, Natasha. Good to see you.
Great to see you. So, Ryan, we just had the Jewish Film Festival in January. You got in right in the nick of time.
That's what we were talking about for a while, especially the week or two before the state shut down. And we saw this coming on the horizon, just talking with colleagues and with the film selection committee and realizing how lucky we got as the emails were pouring in for other film festivals that were having to postpone or cancel. And it seems like in San Diego, a lot of the festivals, even nationwide, they're concentrated in that January through March time period.
Mm-hmm. It's a great time because, the Oscars are in February and the main blockbusters came out for holiday season. So like we have this sort of ideal time to get people into movie theaters for other events like yours. So tell us a little bit about the film festival.
Well, this was the 30th annual San Diego International Jewish Film Festival. So it was a huge landmark event for us, for the San Diego Center for Jewish Culture, which is a part of the Lawrence family JCC. And this was my first year. And I made it. Not only did I make it, I was so excited. Like day in, day out, I was a little bit worried about what I was missing going into it in terms of the stress and some of the nerves and anxiety that surrounded it. And after a couple of days, I started to settle in and I realized previously I worked in baseball, which is a strange shift into the arts and into film. But
that's fascinating. You worked in baseball as like a defense person, or what did you do?
I worked in front office for baseball operations. So to oversimplify things, anyone who has seen the movie Moneyball has a vague sense of what I did. So after I started sharing with a couple colleagues a few days into the festival, this is just a 10-game homestand. That's all. I've done this before. And and the difference being that baseball doesn't stop on Shabbat like we do for our festival. So even having Friday evening free and then most of Saturday also free, that was enough time for me to kind of refuel and be rejuvenated. So it was just hunkering down for 10 or 11 days, and it re-triggered that nocturnal energy that I'm used to from baseball, where most of the games would start around 7:00 and the adrenaline kicks up around then. And sometimes like I worked in scouting capacities as well. So that's when the real work would often begin. And it was just like that at the festival for me. I got those like evening and nighttime juices flowing with the energy and the crowds and the excitement. So that's
I love that. I've never heard anyone compare a film festival to baseball. I am loving that.
There it is. And I guess now we're just in a really long rain delay.
Right. Well said. Oh my goodness. And that's true, right? So how has this situation affected the programming at the San Diego Center for Jewish Culture?
Good question. And it has impacted it tremendously. Everything has stopped. However, so we started working from home in mid-March, and the CJC began rolling out virtual programming immediately. And we were lucky. One of my colleagues, who Paul,
of course,
Paul reached out to everybody who's ever come through our festival, and Paul's been there for about 12 or 13 years. So he has a deep Rolodex and a lot of good relationships. So we were able to bring on filmmakers quickly join us virtually and really have some wonderful programming. And we're still having it regularly, and it's been nice.
So even though your festival is over, you still have programming throughout the year, right? How do people find out more about that?
Correct. Well, you can go to the website. It's lfjcc.org. LF Lawrence Family JCC.org, and we have a virtual link that is the virtual menu and offers everything that we're doing, which is not only just from a film or arts and culture standpoint, but also activities for preschoolers, because we do have a preschool, sports and fitness as well. There's some yoga and there's some various mindfulness classes and more active classes as well. And I know I'm forgetting a couple others, but we have a pretty well-rounded suite of virtual events and opportunities.
That's very, very cool. I myself have taken some online yoga classes at home, and that's been fantastic. I mean, I kind of really enjoy it because I don't have to like rush anywhere in my car, and I don't have to look for parking or any of that. You could just log in and there you are. So that's really lucky. But you miss the camaraderie of being with classmates for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your involvement with film. So do you have like an earliest memory of going to the movie theater or anything special? Or why did you switch your career from baseball to the arts? That's fascinating.
Well, good question. And I have the same starting point to answer both earliest memories and why the switch. My 4.5-year-old daughter is now the beneficiary of a Disney Plus subscription at home,
Oh, of course.
which is, I mean, it's quarantine or shelter in place calls for extreme measures. And
True.
part of the reason why I left baseball was because of my kids, and in baseball just not having enough time. Like I was saying, the film festival kind of mirrored those hours, except for baseball goes on for 6, 7, 8 months.
Right.
A little different than just 10 days.
Of
So
course.
wanting to be around them while they grew up was certainly the number one reason, and my wife as well. And then also, so watching some of these movies now with my daughter, she's into the 101 Dalmatians, and I mentioned to her that, like, you know what, Grandpa took me to this. I think when it came out, I was probably 5. So obviously, we're not talking about cinematic film here, but it's where we all start. And just those original, those initial memories of the movie theater, and whether it's the popcorn or just the smell of the theater and the seats and the first time that the lights go out, you can't replicate that.
That's so lovely to hear that it takes you back to these memories of your childhood. One thing that I had noticed about when the Avengers movies came out into the movie theaters, and how many people were in line at concessions, and how many people, we were sold out for like weeks for all the time slots on the opening weekend. It brought people back to their childhood to think about those comic books and those characters, and I mean, that's a special thing that Disney can do. I really respect that. So do you have a favorite movie theater snack? And now I got to know if you have a favorite baseball snack too.
That's a good question. I mean, popcorn for me, I am not proud of what I can do to a large tub of popcorn during a movie.
Same. I'll admit it. I happen to know you're an icy fan.
That's right. I don't think ices were in the house when I was a kid going to, or even when I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
It was more of just like an isolated 7-Eleven Slurpee kind of thing. If you had to go seek it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I did make good use of that icy machine during the film festival, and kind of kept everything cooled the body temperature and my soul and the mind and the spirit.
Well said. So tell me, why do you think movie theaters are important to, our culture? What can we do to keep them relevant even after this situation alleviates?
It's such a relevant question, just given the fact that theaters are currently shuttered, and even during our programming that we've had virtually for for the CJC, we spoke to a filmmaker named Hanan Harkol. He's a New Yorker. He's a public school teacher in New York, and he wrote and directed, produced a documentary called About a Teacher.
Okay.
And it was slated to be released sometime later this year. It was in post-production right around the time that everything started shutting down. And he decided to release it. It's streaming, I believe, on Amazon. And it was released about 2 or 3 weeks ago, early April. The decision being made because it's here, he had it, and
Sure.
it's ready to go. So we just sit on it indefinitely. So I respect that decision. And I mean, it's not life or death. And there are much more important things going on in our country and in the world today. It is his labor and the fruits of his labor and his story. So I feel bad for him that he wasn't able to release it in a theater.
Right.
And this is to answer that question. The theater is so important because it's a communal gathering spot. And our film festival illustrated that. And again, for me as a first timer in our festival, to see the crowds gathering and to see people being united over a common passion for film. And it's not just Jewish film. You don't have to be Jewish to be part of it. And plenty of people are not. And it's good film. It's good theater.
Right.
And you think about consuming that at home, streaming, whether through any streaming service, or I guess that's pretty much how you do it, versus going out and making it a social event where that opportunity presents itself to do so much more and to engage in such different ways and make friends, come with your friends.
Yeah.
You never just go to the movies, do you? You always go to dinner or go out for drinks, or there's some pre or post movie activity involved. So for me, that's the movie theater's Americana.
Yes.
And it's who we are. It's in the fabric of this country, which is why I think even whatever toll that the pandemic might take on the economy and on theater, movie theaters will survive and endure because it's what we need and it's part of who we are.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly and love the movie theaters. And one thing I loved about your festival, well, I love about all festivals, is that it's the amount of people who are talking in the hallways or in line, like, what did you see? Oh, I saw this. And oh, I recommend that. And then they're going to check it out the next time it plays. That's so special. That's a really special thing to connect with someone else on. I really love that opportunity. So what do you think people should check out while they're at home?
That's a good question. And I don't know if you've seen this. There are so many production companies and producers and filmmakers who are now making their content available online. So everyone's competing for such now a small amount of space. I thought that when we went to this general work from home paradigm, we'd all have more time. I thought I would have more time. Turns out I find myself with less time. And I've spoken to a lot of people who find themselves in a similar place. I miss my commute. I haven't listened to a podcast in 5 or 6 weeks. And that was such a part of my daily routine and rhythms and just mentally help me get ready and then help me wind down. So, I mean, everything's out there. That's the amazing thing. And we're putting on events 2 or 3 times a week. That's just from the arts and ideas department, the CJC department. The youth theater is doing stuff, and everybody else is doing stuff where we have to be careful not to compete with ourselves and step on the toes of colleagues, which has actually required a new kind of collaboration and company awareness and organizational awareness that might not have existed otherwise. So I think we're developing better practices that once we reopen, we can take back. That said, what to watch? God, I'm jealous of anybody who's watching anything right now.
You are one of the lucky few that have no time at all. Work is keeping you busy.
Oh, exactly. I keep thinking about just like the half hour before I go to bed where I just grab my phone and open up the Netflix app and mindlessly fade away for a little bit. And that's another thing. The content, and Natasha, go ahead,
No,
please.
that's just it, right? You spend so much time looking for what you want to watch that then you're like, okay, I can't decide. There's so many.
We realized, just having a conversation with my colleagues, we've offered a good amount of intellectually driven content.
Yes.
And I'm ready to pivot now, not to go completely away from it, but I think it's also important to provide people something to relax with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So right now on the Angelika website, we've partnered with various distributors, and we're able to you're able to download various films that we're going to release in theaters now, essentially in the March, April, May time period. And so some of them are, yes, definitely very serious, and others are a little more lighthearted. But certainly you have that option to stream through us, and we're splitting the fees directly with the distributor, because we need them, they need us. And so we're very grateful to be able to do that. And you can also order food from the Angelika Film Center in San Diego. You can order our popcorn, and we have a little an Uber Eats option. So you can do the Angelika at home. So I'm hoping that kind of like narrows the search a little bit for people. But you also are streaming content on your website as well, right?
Yeah, but I want to hear more about the Angelika Eats part. What's
Nice.
is it Uber Eats only?
At this point, but we are going to start doing pickup as well. So yes, so we're going to do our burgers. We've got a huge family-sized popcorn, so you can get that, and we have various other options. It's all available through the website, so you can take a look there. But yeah, come on by. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, that's what's great, and I want to check that out and talk to you about this, because this is why we need the theaters. And it's why I think they'll come back, because watching a movie, like comfort of your home, sweatpants or whatever it is, no shoes, there's something to be said for that. But the snacks just don't hold up. And it's not like you're not going to get what you get at the movie theater, even if you stop at Target and load up on stuff. It's just a different vibe. So I think like being able to transport the movie theater environment, even if it's just with the Angelika burger and goobers or whatever else someone's picking up, to take that home does enrich the streaming experience, I think.
Good. Well, I hope to see you at the theater to pick up popcorn, Ryan. So what movies are you looking forward to when they do come out? Is there anything you're like, I'm dying to see?
I'm not, because I'm still trying to catch up. But the funny thing was, during the San Diego International Jewish Film Festival, my wife and kids swung by on a Sunday morning just because they wanted to see it. I wanted them to see it. And my daughter saw the Mulholland poster that was there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was supposed to be like a March 27th release. And she was counting down the days. And I said, we can go do it. When it comes out, we'll go.
Yeah.
And then she's well aware now that coronavirus put an end to those plans. But that's, it's wonderful. And also, sadly, that's how most of my plans are made now, that it's in that rated G category where I'm spending most of my time.
Well, Mulan is scheduled to come out July 27th in the theaters. So we're crossing our fingers that July is going to be a good release for us, even if we have to open at a lower capacity.
Mm-hmm.
We hope to see you at the theater.
That sounds good.
Yes. So, Ryan, let's tell our listeners anything they should know about the San Diego Center for Jewish Culture, and anything to look forward to.
Sure. Well, we are, who knows how it shakes out, but we're hoping to reopen in some capacity in August. Perhaps it's September. A lot of our events for the months of March, April, May, June, not everything that was remaining has all been canceled, but there's a good chance we will just reschedule that and flip it over into 2021. We had mid-season films and there were four that were going to take place over 2 to 3 month span. We are working now on figuring out how to stream some of those.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them will be available that way, and that's okay. We can just offer them again once we reopen. And I think what we'll do, just like you mentioned too, reopening won't be at full capacity.
Right.
But if it means we have to be a little more deliberate and spend 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks to get everybody in front of the screen and get all the films viewed in the way that we want, then that's what we'll do.
And you guys do a Shorts Fest also, right?
We do, and that's about 6 months from now. It's October 20th. Again, we have the benefit of having just come out of our feature film festival, and the shorts is still 6 months away, so we can see how other festivals unfold on the virtual platform, virtual stage.
Sure.
I think best case scenario will be combining in person and virtual, just because from a number standpoint, we can't satisfy everybody.
Right, and that makes a lot of sense. I've heard that a number of festivals are looking at that as an option as well, and that makes sense. That makes sense. As long as we can get content to people that is, wonderful, that they should get a chance to see it one way or another, and hopefully things will come back. I have a lot of positivity about it. I really do. And I love what you said about, this being sort of this opportunity for organizational change, right? So that, I think a lot of businesses are probably looking at that as well.
I agree. I think you have to at this point. Let me ask you this. What do you got on the drive-in? Drive-in movies, is it going to be the new thing?
Oh, it's so cool, isn't it? It's interesting to think that they're sort of making this comeback. The one in Chula Vista was ordered to close, from what I understand, just a couple weeks ago. But with the phasing of reopening businesses, it's possible that they'll have a very, very good turnout. So I don't know. It's certainly something to look into. It's very, very interesting idea and fun.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Distance and be at the movie. So
yeah, and it's like that sort of like old 1960s style going out. That's kind of fun. Bring back, like you said, these sort of Americana cinema experience. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us for Coffee Club. Thank you so much, and thanks to all our listeners. So please hit that subscribe button, listen to more of our YouTube interviews, and please order some Uber Eats from the Angelika Film Center. Angelika at home. See you next time, everybody. Thank you.